Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today we're going to this Ketuvot stop test. We're going to begin on the very last line on Chesma Beis. Amar Rav Elazar. So he says as follows as we continue to test with Aleph. Ha'omer, a person says, Pesach Pasuach Matzasi. So this is based on the Mishnah that we learned that a person normally would have Tainus Damim. He thought he was marrying a Basula, and then he sees that she didn't show dam. But over here, he doesn't have the tain of Tainus Damim, Rashi says. Kagon shehi mimishpachas durkati, shein lehem dam basulim. Come on, we'll see on Daf Yud that there are some women, they just never had dam basulim. So that doesn't necessarily mean that she is a basula or not a basula. And therefore, he couldn't say have a Tainus Damim because he already knew that she wasn't going to have seen dam, but the problem is that it was Pesach Pasuach. Alternatively, Rashi says, Shenebda miminu mapa, lo yada im hoyadam im lav. So normally, when they have Tashmish, the first time, there is this cloth, and with that cloth, you're able to see if in fact she showed dam. But because it was lost, he didn't know definitively, he was not able to make a Tainus Damim. But he did find this notion of what's called Pesach Pasuach. So again, according to Rashi, this is not the same thing as Tainus Damim. Weiter. So in that situation, Neman, he's actually believed that now she is usher to him, because maybe she actually had znus while they were already engaged, and therefore she's usher to him. Now, why would we necessarily say that? So Rashi already tells us the reason why he's neman is because l'shavi le'chaticha di'isura. If you want to answer something on yourself, you can answer something on yourself. Therefore, so too he could say that Pesach Pasuach Matzasi, and all of a sudden now she's no longer mutter to him. But Rashi says, Olav Sidik Subasal him. He still has to give her a ksuba. That much we're not going to go. Now, why do we say that he's able to answer her to him? Even if, let's say, again, we believe that they had bia, that she had bia, but still it's a suffix, it's a sfeika who. Suffix tachtav, suffix ein tachtav. It's possible she had bia while she was engaged, and that would be a problem. But maybe she was ein tachtav, and if it was ein tachtav before that erison she had znus, so that's not a reason to answer her. Even if she did have znus tachtav when they're engaged after b'shas erison, savik ba'onis savik baratzai. So if she was an anusa, we learn later on Daf Nun Aleph from the pasuk V'hi lo nispasa that she's mutter to you. It's only if it was baratzain. So since it's a sfeika, it's a doubt within a doubt. So then why would we say that he has the right to answer her? What's richa be'eshes kayin? We're talking about a situation where she's an eshes kayin. She'oinis aser ba hilkachad saviku. It's not a sfeika. If it's sfeika, you're right. Maybe he can answer her. However, over here, because we're talking only about one suffix, because it's a kayin, so in that situation, it's just suffix tachtav or lo tachtav. But if it was definitely tachtav, then even be'oinis she'd be usher to him. V'iboy seima be'esh Yisrael, who could go into kabbalah avur kedushin b'chus v'bas gimel shana v'yomecha. She was less than 3 years old, and now all of a sudden she's a gedolah, and someone was mafat to her, and not ma'anis. So Rashi says hilka chad suffix ika suffix oinis suffix ratzain. We don't know if it was actually baratzain or it was ma'anis against her will. If it was against her will, she's mutter to him. But it was definitely tachtav, as Rashi says, because even if she had bia before, but since it was before kedushin, if she had bia, then we say it's k'noisen etzba ba'ayin. Just like a person pokes their eye with their finger, shahadima yoitzis v'choseres, the tears come and they keep repeating itself. So it's the same thing. If a person has tashmish with a girl, pachas mebas gimel shana v'yom echad, so she's not, her basulim will be restored. So my kamashmal, so it's only one son. My kamashmal tinino emel isha. If a person says to his wife, kidash tich, I'm married to you. He omeres lo kidash tani. No, we're not married. So he muteres b'korei b'huasa b'korei b'seha. The fact that he said I am married to you, he is now usher to her relatives, so he can't marry her mother or her daughter or her sister, because again the notion of shavinhu and nafshechati chadiyasura. So madate mahasam devade kimle, over there he is 100% certainly that he was mekadisher. It's not such a hard thing to make a mistake about. Abahacha make him who deloy koim le kamashmalan, says Rashi. Emami taich she panoi haya venu baki. Make him who deloy kimle. Maybe he's just not really so 100% sure if it was really Pesach Pasuach. Kasavar shemotza Pesach Pasuach. He thought so. The inukain voti aser. Maybe we shouldn't aser kamashmalan. So how definitive? How sure is he that Pesach Pasuach? Is it a davar borer keshemesh? Maybe not. Maybe he's not so sure. Kedushin, obviously he knows he did Kedushin, but to know that the biu that he found that she was Pesach Pasuach, maybe not. Maybe that's not enough to aser kamashmon. We say shavnav shechadiyasura even in this case. Umiyam Rabbi Lezer hachi, which again is going all the way to the very first words of our daf. Rabbi Lezer is the one who made this whole statement that he's able to aser her. V'yom Rabbi Lezer, Eina isha neseres al baal. A woman cannot become aser to her husband. Ela al iski kinui ustira. Only in the event that she was secluded and warned by her husband, and then she becomes aser to him. Ukamasa shahaya, and just like the mas shahaya, Rashi says of Bas Sheva. So 1 second, V'tizbra masa shahaya. Are you telling me the story with David and Bathsheba? B'kinui b'stira havi? Was that true that there was kinui and stira when he took her from Uriachiti? Va'od mi asrua? We didn't answer her, right? Bathsheba was mutter to David, right? So halokasha hachikamer. Eini ishin eseres al bala ela al iski kinui stira mimas shahaya. So we learn this actually from the story of Bathsheba. Because there was no kinui stira, that's the reason why we did not answer her. Fine. So therefore, what do we see? That l'chayra mikol makom kasha kinui stira in Pesach Pasuach loy. We shouldn't be able to ask. Shouldn't answer her by this claim of Pesach Pasuach. It's only when it's definitive. He warned her, and she still secluded herself. So that's when she becomes aser to him, not just by making a claim. You tell me even witnesses not. Obviously, when it says kinu stira, it's not coming to exclude everything else. In order to aser a woman, one witness is not enough. You actually need to have 2 witnesses. As Rashi says, Ein isha neseres al baal be'edachad diol davar mimamlin. But kinu stira feel be'edachad. However, if there was kinu in stira, then we say even one witness nami could aser. Pesach pasuach kishnei edim dami, and Pesach pasuach has the strength of 2 witnesses. Look at Rashi. I feel be'edachad. I feel ein batuma el eid echad. There's only one witness that saw her seclude herself. Neman, said the aid ein ba. It says there was no witness. The Yermamar in the beginning of Masech Sota says Kol machash never aid harikan shnayim v'karm rachmana aid ein ba. Trey, there weren't 2 witnesses. El chad, mashma there was one. V'hil nispasa surah, and if she was, it was baratz and she's aser. Shuraglayim ladavar shezinsa. Shahari kini lovanistra, she locked herself up. The aid echad miida shehi taman. You have this one witness. It's like 2 witnesses. Shahari davar barahulo shenivla. It's so clear that she had bia that he says Pesach Pasuach that's considered strong as Shnei Edom. The question is why, when it came to David, says Rashi Shahari Edom Harbe Yadu. Many people knew this whole situation. So why, in fact, is it that when it came to the Masa Shahaya of Bathsheba and David, why actually do we not aser? Why isn't Bathsheba aser to David? So the Gemara says like this: Hasam oinis havoy. Over there, it was against her will. Diboy seima kihadi amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani amar Rabbi Yonasan. As we continue to Testament Bays, a more famous answer that kol hayotzil mochamas beis David, anyone who goes out to war, get krisis kaisel ishto. They write a get to your wife in order that there's no issue of a guna. Dechsiv es achecha tifkoid l'shalom, and your brother will be gone to peace. Ves arubasam tikach. My ves arubasam tikach. What is that referring to? So Tana Rav Yosef devarim hameoravim bein leveina, things that attach and connect people to a man to a woman, namely kedushin. That is what will be severed. So therefore, David was allowed to take Bathsheba because Uriah Hiti, who went out to war, must have given a get because that was the general practice, so that your wife would not remain in the guna if you don't come back. Question 7. Madul as nesrid Bathsheba al Uriah. So one answer is anus havoy, that it was against her will, or kol hayotzim melchamas beis David get krisos kaisev l'ishtai. That was again question 7, which is the exact same question as TA23, which asks Madu Bathsheba as lo nesra al David. So again, same answers. TA23. Let's mark this down over here. Number 7 and TA23. Okay, weiter. Fine. So the Gemara says as follows: Tani Rav Yosef. Fine. Rabbi. Afanan namitinina. We also learned something similar to this as Rashi did. Tain Pesach Basuach Matzasi. That once it was Pesach Basuach, Asrulav, he could ask himself. Veloyam Rinan Lo Kimle. We don't say, oh, maybe he's unsure of himself. How do we see that? It says as follows: Besula Nises Liyom Ravi. That a Besula, as we saw in the beginning of our Masechta, gets married on Wednesday. Liyom Ravi in, Liyom Chamishi lo, not on Thursday. My time is Shemikuri Daita. Because the whole notion that if, let's say, he only had Tashmish with her after Thursday night, and then the Beis Din doesn't reconvene until Monday, so he may end up saying it's fine, no big deal, okay? But the truth is, if it was Mamash Tachtav, so she's usher to him. So we don't want that. We want him instead to go straight to Beis Din. And that's why she gets married on a Wednesday. Ulmai, says Rashi, Ulmai kapti rabbanan imikori daita. Why do we care if he is going to be calm or not calm? Ilmesavok suva. If it's to give her ksuba, so neisavlo, let her get a ksuba. What's the big deal? So he ends up losing money when he shouldn't. He didn't have to lose the money. Okay, so he gave a ksuba. El oisulav. It's coming to tell you, obviously, that they're makbid because we do not want him to remain with her. Because he should aser her. Says Rashi, Almon, we see kiasi v'tayin asrin loelei, that if he makes this taina of tainas besulim, at least in the Havamina, we'll see what the question is, then in that situation we believe him to aser. With the katayin tainamai, lav the katayin tainas pesach basuach. Where it says lo the katayin tainas damim, which is what we learned before, is what the Masechta is talking about. Says Rashi, tainas damim, the tainim muvorerasi. In this situation, she was supposed to see dam, and all of a sudden, for some reason, she didn't. So this is mamish tainas damim. He has the cloth, and there's no blood on it. Veleko meimer lo kimle. In that situation, you can't say, oh, maybe he's unsure. He's positive. His tanas dam is borer. Over Pesach Pasuach eimolach lo kimle. When it comes to Pesach Pasuach, maybe he's not so sure, because he wasn't planning on seeing dam anyway from her. So maybe the whole notion of our Mishnah being able to aser is only when it comes to Tanis Damim, but maybe not by Pesach Pasuach. So it's not a raya. Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. Ha'omer Pesach Pasuach Masasi neman la'asidik subasa. Unlike we said before, that he's only neman la'aser. Here he says he's believed even to for her to lose her ksuba. Says Rashi, al pi atzmo. The time will come on mefarish chazaka inam torech basuda masida. Because why would he allow to get her not get a ksuba? Because what just happened? They just had a $40,000 wedding, and then all of a sudden he's breaking off the marriage right afterwards. The next day, he probably has a valid point. So therefore, he wouldn't have said it to stop. So therefore, we believe him even that she loses her ksuba. So Rabbi Yosef, my kamashmon, what does that come to teach you? Tanina, it says later on, if a person eats by his father-in-law, Yehuda, shlo b'edim, without witnesses, enu yachol itayin tanis b'sulim. He can no longer have the luxury of saying when he enters into the chuppah that she's not a basula. Because he is already misyached with him. So since she is misyached with him, therefore that's the reason why he is not neman. Now, be Yehuda hu lo matzi toyin. In Yehuda, he is not able to say this. Lo matzi toyin. Habagol matzi toyin. Other places, he is able to make this claim. Umay. Il asr love. If his intention is to aser her, so be Yehuda my lo. Why can't he aser her? El lav lafsidik ksubasa. The chiddush is whether or not she could lose her ksuba. And the katataina, what was the claim? My love, the katayin tainas pesach basuach lo, the katayin tainas damim. Again, maybe this is not a raya when it comes to being tayin pesach basuach, but maybe it's only tayin tainas damim, as Rashi says, lo the katayin tainas damim u'oyla me'malach, but darshin yachol varoi. Eno, when it's something which he can't clearly explain, eno nemon lahasik subasa. Maybe he can't cause her to lose the ksuba. But the yukad masnis and the dakin and labagol matzitayin the tainus damim. Maybe in that situation, it's only because there was a tainus damim. Question 8. We're going to stop there. Madua tainus damim mivoreres tfei tainus besum. Why is tainus damim more clear? Because pesach basuach equal member lo kimle. Masha'en kain when it comes to tainus damim, in which it is very clear. Adkan.